Village surrounded by green hills lived a 12-year-old boy named Daniel. He was kind, curious, and always smiling. But there was one thing that made him sad. He believed that he was not as smart or talented as the other children. Every day after school, Daniel watched his friends play football, draw beautiful pictures, or solve difficult puzzles. He tried many things, but he was never the best. "I will never be good at anything," Daniel whispered to himself. One afternoon, Daniel visited his grandfather. His grandfather was known as the wisest man in the village. He always had a kind smile and a story to tell. Grandfather noticed that Daniel looked unhappy. "What is troubling you, my boy?" he asked. Daniel sighed. "I work hard, but everyone else is better than me. I think I should stop trying." Grandfather smiled gently. He stood up and took Daniel to a small wooden table. On the table sat an old lantern. "This lantern has been with me for many years," Grandfather said. "It doesn't look very special," Daniel replied. Grandfather lit the lantern. A warm light filled the room. "Do you see how bright it is?" he asked. Daniel nodded. Grandfather blew out the flame. "What happened?" he asked. "The light is gone," Daniel answered. Grandfather smiled. "The lantern did not lose its purpose. It only needs someone to light it again." Daniel looked at the lantern carefully. "You are like this lantern," Grandfather continued. "Your talent is inside you. Hard work, patience, and learning are the match that lights your gift." Daniel thought about those words all evening. The next morning, instead of giving up, Daniel decided to practice reading every day. He also started writing short stories because he loved using his imagination. At first, his stories were simple. Sometimes he made mistakes with spelling. Sometimes the endings were not exciting. But every mistake taught him something new. Each day, he became a little better. One afternoon, his teacher asked the class to write a story about kindness. Daniel worked carefully. He remembered his grandfather's advice and gave his best effort. When the teacher read the stories, she smiled. "Daniel," she said, "your story made me smile. It reminds us that even small acts of kindness can change someone's day." The whole class clapped. Daniel was surprised. It was not because his story was perfect. It was because he had improved. That evening, he ran to his grandfather. "People liked my story," he said happily. Grandfather laughed. "I knew they would. But I'm still learning," Daniel said. "And that is why you will keep growing," Grandfather answered. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Daniel never stopped reading books. He asked questions whenever he did not understand something. He listened carefully to his teachers and practiced every day. Soon he became one of the best storytellers in school. Children gathered around him during lunch breaks. "Tell us another story," they would shout. Daniel smiled and began another adventure. One day, a new student named Leo joined the class. Leo was very quiet. He struggled with reading. Some children laughed when he made mistakes. Daniel remembered how he once felt. Instead of laughing, he sat beside Leo. "We can practice together," Daniel said kindly. Every afternoon, they read one page together. Sometimes Leo became frustrated. "I can't do it," Leo said. Daniel smiled. "Yes, you can. I used to think I couldn't become better either." Little by little, Leo improved. One day, he read an entire chapter without stopping. His face lit up with joy. "Thank you," Leo said. Daniel shook his head. "You did the hard work. I only reminded you not to give up." The teacher watched everything with pride. She called the class together. "Today," she said, "I want everyone to remember something important. Success is not about being the fastest or the smartest. Success comes from learning, practicing, and helping others." The children nodded. From that day, the class became kinder. Instead of competing all the time, they encouraged one another. They celebrated every small improvement. The classroom became a happier place. Years later, Daniel grew into a wonderful writer. People from many towns enjoyed reading his books. Whenever someone asked him how he became successful, he never talked about being talented. Instead, he smiled and said, "I simply kept learning one day at a time." He also kept his grandfather's old lantern on his desk. Whenever he faced a difficult day, he looked at it and remembered that every dream starts with a small light. One evening, a young girl visited Daniel. She held a notebook close to her chest. "I want to become a writer," she said softly, "but I don't think I'm good enough." Daniel smiled because her words sounded very familiar. He placed the old lantern on the table and lit it. The warm light filled the room. "This lantern once taught me an important lesson," he said. "It reminds us that everyone has a light inside them. Sometimes it takes time, practice, and patience before the light shines brightly." The little girl smiled with hope. She opened her notebook and began writing her first story. As Daniel watched her, he realized something wonderful. The greatest success was not becoming famous. The greatest success was inspiring someone else to believe in themselves. And just like one lantern can light another without losing its own flame, kindness, wisdom, and hope can spread from one person to another. From that day on, Daniel always remembered three simple lessons. Never give up because every expert was once a beginner. Keep learning because knowledge grows one page, one lesson, and one day at a time. And always help others because the brightest light is the one that helps someone else find their way. If you enjoyed our story, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and watch more videos in our channel.